Hey guys and gals, and my fellow VEDS-ies, welcome back to another day of VEDS, and welcome back to yet another installment of I Just Watched, the show where I compare my preconceptions and postconceptions of movies I have never even seen before. And on today's episode of I Just Watched, I'm going to be watching a Muppet movie. That's right, I have never seen Muppet Treasure Island. Now, for context, there's really only a handful of Muppet movies that I have never seen. I've never seen Kermit Swamp Years, I've never seen In Full Muppets from Space, and I've never really seen this one, Muppet Treasure Island. I love Disney's first foray with the Muppets in the 90s, which was Muppet Christmas Carol. I think Muppet Christmas Carol, obviously, I love Muppet Christmas Carol. Muppet Christmas Carol is great. Didn't really catch this one. I don't know, obviously I know it's based off of Treasure Island. I've seen Treasure Planet. I know the general outline of the story. I also know that Tim Curry is in this, who is basically a Muppet himself. And really the only other thing I know about it is Tim Curry's song in the movie, which is Professional Pirate, which is a really good villain song, which somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe he actually sung live. Actually, I lied. There is one more thing I do know about this movie, and it's basically because I watched a recent D23 Muppet panel that was focusing on Miss Piggy, and they said that in Muppet's Treasure Island, Miss Piggy's barely in it. She comes in at the third act as this princess of the island or something. So I'm kind of interested to see how they clue her in, because again, there's not a lot of female parts in Treasure Island. So I'm excited to watch it. And now we'll cut to me a couple hours, days. I don't even know I'm filming these intros well in advance of actually watching the thing. And let's just see what it is I thought of it.
And when you're a professional pirate.
Alright, I just got done watching Muppet Treasure Island, and man, that was not as good as Christmas Carol. Now, it's not to say that I hated it, or that I don't think it is without merit completely. First thing, a lot of the songs in this movie are genuinely quite good. Apparently Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack, so he apparently has a lot of history with Pirates movies. And I would say that a lot of the musical numbers in the movie really hit the bullseyes that they were trying to hit. I think the opening song really does well at establishing this tone. Sailing for Adventure, I think, is good. Jim's I Want song with Gonzo and Rizzo was good. I think the only song that really didn't work for me was the Cabin Fever song. It's just, it kind of happens and then it ends, and it's just kind of like we're stopping the movie to do a musical number. Another thing that I will say is very good is the puppetry. A lot of the puppetry, especially dealing with the fact that these are characters that are going to be in boats, there's a lot of water. It is genuinely quite astounding, the stunts with these puppets that they were able to pull off, and how they change from scene to scene, how the effect is being done, so it kind of keeps you guessing. So puppetry-wise, I think this is one of the better Muppet movies. But really, I think that's where my praises for the movie kind of end, because the humor in the movie is very hit and miss. And I would say, at least for me, the runner with the rats, for example, thinking they're on a cruise ship, that really didn't work for me. I didn't really think they added much to the movie. There were only a handful of jokes that genuinely felt like they were Muppet Show-esque jokes.
Big fat ugly bug-faced baby eating O'Brien? Aye.
A lot of the other ones just kind of felt like typical family comedy and not really Muppet level comedy, if that makes sense. Just as an example, the whole reveal of Kermit being Captain Smollett is ruined. They try to do this misdirect thing where you think it's going to be this gruff, angry man, and then it turns out to be Kermit. That's ruined because literally within the first minute you find out that in the opening credits you see Kermit the Frog credited as playing Captain Smollett. So you're ruining the reveal right away. And really, a lot of the comedy, I think, rests on Gonzo and Rizzo. And I don't know if this will be an unpopular opinion, but at least in terms of this movie, I don't think Rizzo should have been in it at all. I think you learned the wrong lessons after Muppet Christmas Carol, where Gonzo and Rizzo were in it. In Muppet Christmas Carol, Gonzo and Rizzo were not in it the entire time. They were sort of peppered in throughout. Gonzo technically wasn't even playing himself. He was playing Charles Dickens. Rizzo was the only one kind of playing himself. And their purpose in that role was to provide narration and, fill in the gaps that are from the original Charles Dickens book. Here, they're playing themselves, and while I think Gonzo on his own would have worked as a friend to Jim because they are both very adventurous characters, Rizzo is he's just kind of there just to do the I'm a rat, I want to eat jokes. I just don't think he contributed much to the plot. And again, it just kind of feels like, well, we did Gonzo and Rizzo in Christmas Carol and people liked it, so let's just do it again. And I just don't think that was the way to go. And I will also shout out that the Swedish Chef's obligatory cameo in the third act is freaking hilarious. And I literally loved it. It's one of the best jokes, I think, in the movie. And since I'm also, I guess, shouting out the Swedish Chef, I guess I'll also shout out Sweetums, because I will always love a good Sweetums moment. And Sweetums got a couple of them in here. I will always love a good Sweetums moment. Sweetums is one of my favorite Muppets.
Thank you. Aren't you supposed to be fighting against us?
Are you kidding? I love you guys.
Now, in terms of the human characters, I think the actor who played Jim worked. I don't think he was great. I don't think he was terrible. The standout, of course, is Tim Curry as Long John Silver. I think Tim Curry is a Muppet himself already, so I mean, putting him in a Muppet movie just kind of makes sense. And so it is kind of like a no-brainer to put Tim Curry in a Muppet movie. Honestly, I'm surprised it took as long as it did to finally get him to work with the Muppets. But yeah, he's a delight. Professional Pirate is such a good song, and if he did sing that live, which I don't know if that was actually ever confirmed or not, but if he did sing it live and also did like all that like choreography and stuff, again, Tim Curry is just a mega level talent. So yeah, it's not my favorite Muppet movie. It's also not my least favorite. It wouldn't rank very in the top 5. I still think Christmas Carol is better. I even think like Muppets Most Wanted is better than Treasure Island. But if somebody grew up with Treasure Island and this was their favorite, yeah, I could see it. But those are my quick thoughts after just now watching Muppet Treasure Island. If you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And until tomorrow, guys, gals, and my fellow VEDS-ies, I will see you tomorrow.